All right, good morning, Carver Cougars. It is Tuesday, April 14th. Before we start our lesson, can you first make sure that you have your pencil and packet right next to you? I'm going to give you 20 seconds to make sure that your pencil's sharpened and that you have your packet. All right, it's on the clock. All right, thank you for being prepared for class. So my second expectation for our online videos is when I say pause, please pause your video and then fill out the next section. And then when I unpause the video, usually we'll double check your work to see if it's right. Step 3, or expectation 3, at the end of the video, there will be an exit ticket on Teams. So every single morning, I upload an exit ticket that matches your exit ticket on your paper. Please fill that out on Teams and on your paper so that I can see how you're doing and if you get what I'm teaching you or if we need to go over this again. It's the same as like an exit ticket in class. So being that it's Tuesday, it's also Turn Up Tuesday. So that means that we need to do Spark. So in the corner, you can use this sentence stem. Who are you going to compliment today? So everyone likes to hear really good things about themselves. So whose day will you make better by giving them a compliment? I gave you the stem. I will compliment blank because why? Maybe it's someone at your house. Maybe it's one of your teachers that you really miss and you want to talk to them on Blue Jeans today from 1 to 3. But you decide. So go ahead and write your stem and then pause your video so that you can fill it out. Go ahead and pause. Okay, let's talk about what we're learning today. So today we're going to learn about 2 new things. Sorry if you hear my dog barking in the background. George, he's also another student in this class, I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize. So today we're going to talk about structure and alliteration. Those are 2 new terms for us for poetry. So think about it. What are some different ways that poets or writers appeal to your senses, appeal to the reader's senses? Think about that before we start our do now. I know that in the past couple weeks, we've talked about sensory language when we use our 5 senses. Sometimes they appeal to your sense of sound with sound words. Sometimes, or onomatopoeias, those are synonyms. Sometimes they appeal to your sense of sound through rhyme. So poets use a lot of different ways to appeal to your senses. Let's talk about our do now. An onomatopoeia is a blank word. Take 10 seconds to fill that out. What sense do onomatopoeias appeal to? Words like bark and meow. 10 seconds, go. Thank you. An onomatopoeia is a sound word. So our do now says use the poem It's Raining below to identify 4 onomatopoeias. How many onomatopoeias are you finding? 4. We're going to put them right here. List the onomatopoeias in the box to the right. So while we read "It's raining," try to listen for some sound words. "It's raining" is you're right, it's our title. Thank you for labeling it. Your text features by Heidi B. Roemer. That is our poet or our author. Since it's poetry, that's our poet. Okay, pencils are down. Let's go ahead and track, starting right here. Pitter patter, plip plop, rain falls from the sky. I open my umbrella up and I stay dry. What sound words did you hear? What 4 sound words did you hear in that poem? I want you to pause your video and write your sound words right here. Okay, let's check our sound words. It says pitter, patter. Pitter and patter are sound words. Why are they sound words? What sound is it describing? Okay, it's describing the rain, how the rain falls. Plip, plop is also describing the rain. Please double check your work for these 4 sound words. Let's move on to part A, structure. So, structure is how the poem is built or made. Sometimes poems have lines and stanzas. We've seen those before, like in normal poems. It has a lot of lines. It has a stanza is a paragraph poem, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stanzas. But in concrete poems, which we're going to focus on writing in the very near future, they are structured or built like an object that is related to the topic or the main idea. Structure appeals to the reader's sense of sight. Why? Because you can see the way it looks, so the way it's built. Let's go to question 1. Why do you think the poet structured "It's raining" like an umbrella and raindrops? What was this poem mostly about? If you were to give it a hashtag, what would it mostly be about? I want you to take 30 seconds to come up with a hashtag. I am timing you right now. If you said it's mostly about rainy weather, then you are correct. Hashtag rain or rainy weather. So which one of these would make the most sense? B. And I know you also found your text evidence of rain falls from the sky. So usually you have your umbrella and raindrops. So why would it be shaped like that? Because of course it's raining. And the title is It's Raining. So on number 2, we're going to fill in the blanks for a new poem called Ice Cubes. So our title, thank you for labeling your text features, is Ice Cubes, and it's by Joanne Bransfield Graham. That is our poet. Let's go ahead and read it so we can see that it's structured, how it's structured, what it looks like. Let's see why the poet chose to structure it like this. Ice cubes, clicking, clatter, clink, crazily inside my drink. Crystal chorus, clear and bold, chattering about the cold. Why would the poet structure it like this? You can fill in the blanks. The poet structured ice cubes as blank because the poem is mostly about blank. Go ahead and pause your video and fill out those blanks, please. Okay, let's talk about what should be here. The poet structured ice cubes as, double check your answers, a glass, because that's what this is, of ice cubes, these little chunks, because the poem is mostly about what? It says ice cubes, clicking, clatter, clink, crazily inside my drink. It's about ice cubes in a cold drink. So thank you for using your text evidence to come up with the reason why the poet structured it like this. And again, the way it's structured or the way it's built appeals to your sense of sight. Let's go ahead and go to part B, alliteration. So an alliteration is when two words or more sound the same at the beginning of the word. So it's the same sound at the start. If you're talking about sound, of course it's appealing to your sense of sound. So here are some examples of an alliteration. Keep your pencil in your hand. Part 1, directions. Underline the same beginning sound in the alliterations. So an example 1 says same sound at the start. What alliteration, what same sound do you hear? Same sound at the start. You hear the S sound. S, s, s. And they're all underlined. That's an alliteration. Same sound at the start. 2. So when you hear the alliteration, underline it. Peter Piper's pizza is the people's pizza. What has the same sound at the start? Which words? I'm going to give you 20 seconds to underline that. Thank you for keeping your pencil in your hand. If you said Peter, the P in Peter, the P in Pipers, the P in pizza, the P in people's pizza, You are correct because all of these words have the p sound at the beginning of the word. Okay, let's look at the next one. SpongeBob SquarePants lives in Bikini Bottom. That's number 3, 20 seconds to underline the alliteration. Alrighty, if you said SpongeBob SquarePants, because those words start with the S sound, and then Bikini Bottom, both start with the letter B. Those are 2 sets of alliterations. Let's do the last one. She sells seashells by the seashore. That's a tongue twister. Say that 10 times fast. Just kidding, let's move on. You have 20 seconds to underline those same beginning sounds. She sells seashells by the seashore. 20 seconds, go. Thank you for working on number 4 and underlining the words with the same beginning sounds. All right, let's talk about it. If you underline the S in she, the S in sells, the S in seashells, and the S in seashore, then you are correct. Part 2 says, use the poems It's Raining, so this poem up here, and ice cubes to circle all the alliterations. So what are you going to do? It says circle your alliterations. Which words? An alliteration is when 2 words or more have the same sound at the beginning, the same sound at the start. Go ahead and do that for It's Raining. I'll give you 30 seconds to read over that and find those alliterations. Which words have the same sound at the start? Let's double check your work. If you said pitter, patter, plip, plop, all of those words start with the letter P. That is an alliteration because they have the same beginning sound. Let's move on to ice cubes. This poem has a little more words, so I'm going to give you 45 more seconds on this one. Can you circle all the alliterations? If you need to pause your video, you can. But I'm giving you 45 seconds to find the alliteration. If you need a little more time, pause your video, please. Okay, so what sounds did you hear repeated over and over again in ice cubes? I heard cubes, clicking, Please double check your work as I circle these. Clatter, clink. Did you get all 4 of those? Cubes, clicking, clatter, and clink all start with the same letter. They start with the letter C. Let's keep reading. If you missed some of the words, please circle it. Crazily inside my drink. Crazily also starts with a C, so that's part of that alliteration. Crystal, chorus, clear, and bold. Crystal, chorus, clear all start with the letter C. Chattering about the cold. Chattering, cold, both start with the letter, you guessed it, C. So all of these words start with the letter C. They have the same beginning sound, so they are alliterations. So before we move on, remember structure is how the poem is built. Thank you for going back to part A. And it appeals to the reader's sense of sight. Let's go to part B, just to review. Part B is alliteration. An alliteration is when 2 words or more sound the same at the beginning of the word. Same sound at the start. This appeals to the reader's sense of sound. Let's go ahead and move on to the back, please. Okay, go ahead and put your pencil down. So I'll put my pencil in park. Track part C. It says, put it together. Alliteration and structure, ice cream. Step 1, read the poem below and listen for the alliteration. We know alliteration means same sound at the start or at the beginning of the word. Step 2, circle the alliterations in this poem. Our poem is called Bleezer's Ice Cream. That's the title. By Jack Prelutsky. That is our poet. So we're going to read it once for fun. And then I want you to go back and read it to find all those alliterations to circle them. So, I am Ebenezer Bleezer. I run Bleezer's ice cream store. There are flavors in my freezer you have never seen before. 28 divine creations, too delicious to resist. Why not do yourself a favor and try the flavors on my list? Cocoa, mocha, macaroni. I hear some same sound at the start. Some alliterations. Tapioca, smoked bologna. Checkerberry, cheddar chew. Chicken, cherry, honeydew. Tutti frutti, stewed tomato. Tuna, taco, baked potato. Lobster, lychee, lima bean. Mozzarella, mangosteen. Almond, ham, meringue, salami. Yam, anchovy, prune, pastrami. Sassafras, Slovaki hash. Sukiyaki, succotash. Butter, brickle, pepper, pickle. Pomegranate, pumpernickel. Peach, pimento, pizza, plum. Peanut, pumpkin, bubblegum. Avocado, Brussels sprouts. Periwinkle, sauerkraut. Broccoli, banana, bluster. Chocolate chop, suey, cluster. Cotton candy, carrot, custard, cauliflower, cola mustard. Onion dumpling, double dip. Turnip truffle, triple flip. Garlic gumbo, gravy, guava. Lentil, lemon, liver, lava. Orange, olive, bagel, beet. Watermelon, waffle wheat. I am Ebenezer Bleezer. I run Bleezer's ice cream store. Taste a flavor from my freezer. You will surely ask for more. 28 divine creations, too delicious to resist. Come on, do yourself a favor. Try the flavors on my list. Give me a thumbs up if you would try any flavor of ice cream on this list. Thumbs down if you thought these flavors sounded nasty. I don't know if I'm that brave to try all these crazy flavors. So remember, your job right now is to circle the alliterations in this poem. So do you see, let's practice with the first stanza. Do you see any alliterations in the first line? I am Ebenezer Bleezer. Do any of those words have the same sound at the start? No. I run Bleezer's ice cream store. Do any of those words have the same sound at the start? No, let's move on. There are flavors in my freezer. Ooh. Do you hear some words that are alliterations or have the same sound at the start? If you said flavors and freezer, you're right. Go ahead and circle them, because you're supposed to circle all the alliterations in this poem. Go ahead and pause your video. When you're finished with this part, we'll move on to step 3. Okay, thank you for circling all the alliterations. There's so many in this poem. So step 3, using alliteration, create 3 new flavors for Bleezer's ice cream store. So your job right now, they can be as silly or delicious sounding as you want them to be. But they all need to start with the same sound at the beginning of the word. So, this is my example. Mustard, mango, mayonnaise, munch. Why is this an alliteration? You're right, they all start with the letter M. Mustard, mango, mayonnaise, munch. They all have that sound at the beginning because they're appealing to our sense of sound when the poet uses alliteration. Let's look at the next one. Blueberry butter bacon bites. What letters start with, or what makes this an alliteration? Go ahead and underline the letters that make this an alliteration. 10 seconds. Right, if you said the B in blueberry, the B in butter, the B in bacon, the B in bites, you are right. Very good. Strawberry salsa swirl. What makes this an alliteration? If you said the S in strawberry, the S in salsa, and the S in swirl, you are right. So you're going to create your own flavors. Did Miss Renteria use any of the flavors that were up here? No, I did not. So your job is to come up with your new flavors, and they all have to start with the same sound at the beginning. If you want to decorate, you can. Just please make sure that you decorate so that I can still read what you have. Because one of your teachers will grade your packet and we want to be able to read your work. You will do that on this side. Go ahead and pause your video, and then we will move on to the last part in a moment. Okay, thank you for unpausing your video. We talked about structure, and structure is how the poem is built. And it appeals to your sense of sight. Bleezer's Ice Cream by Jack Prelutsky, he decided to go the traditional route and have lines and stanzas. That's usually how you see poems structured or built. When we made our flavor little mini poems down here, we structured it into ice cream cones. Why? Because it was about ice cream. So my question for you is a higher level thinking question. If you were to write a poem or another poem about ice cream, what is another structure, so another shape, that you could use to make your poem more fun and interesting? So fill in this blank. I could structure my ice cream poem into a blank. You decide. If it's mostly about ice cream, what shape could you make it look like? Okay, good luck with this, and also fill out your quiz on Teams so that I can see if y'all understand this concept or if you don't. All right, I care about you. Have a great day. And don't forget to compliment someone today for Turn Up Tuesday. Bye.